In the quiet, tree-lined streets of Staten Island, a four-story mansion rises with understated elegance, its presence powerful, yet hushed. But behind its fortified walls lies a story not just of luxury, but of raw survival, unyielding ambition, and the transformation of a boy into a legend. That boy was Corey Woods, a name few recognized in the early 1980s, as he dodged stray bullets and navigated addiction-laced corners of Brooklyn. Today, the world knows him as Raekwon the Chef, hip-hop royalty, Wu-Tang Clan pioneer, and architect of a lifestyle carved out of chaos. His life reads like a cinematic script. Born into poverty, shaped by abandonment, nearly lost to drugs, and ultimately baptized in gunfire. What followed wasn't just a rap career, it was a complete reinvention. His million-dollar Staten Island home, luxury cars, business ventures, and philanthropic acts aren't just trappings of fame. They are symbols of resistance, resilience, and redemption. And yet, the story most people know barely scratches the surface. So today, we take you deep into Raekwon's world. Not just the fame and fortune, but the pain, the poetry, and the path that led from project hallways to palatial living rooms, from Park Hill's peril to quiet dominance. This is the untold, relentless ascent of Raekwon. Corey Woods' earliest memories weren't of playgrounds or bedtime stories. They were of shadows. Raised in Brownsville, Brooklyn, one of New York's most unforgiving war zones, his childhood was a battlefield defined by volatility and absence. His father, consumed by addiction, vanished from his life after a single fleeting visit when Corey was just 6 years old. That visit ended not with closure, but with a hollow introduction to a grandmother he'd never met. Then silence. The kind of silence that echoes through a child's development like a slow burn, planting either anger or resilience. For Corey, it would become both. He grew up watching his mother fight battles of her own, enduring abuse from partners, scraping by in an environment that offered little safety and even less hope. She was his only constant, both a shield and a lesson in quiet strength. But even that wasn't enough to escape the grip of the streets. After a traumatic robbery left his mother fearing for their lives, she moved them into the Park Hill projects on Staten Island, seeking refuge, but finding yet another gauntlet. The violence didn't end there. Park Hill brought its own breed of danger, and young Corey, now a teenager, slipped into a life defined by chemical escape. Cocaine and crack, the drugs that devoured entire blocks in the 80s, became his coping mechanism, his vice, his curse. Rehab didn't stop him. Warnings didn't stop him. What did was far darker. Witnessing the wreckage firsthand. The way the drugs swallowed families, ruined friends, erased futures. That stark mirror forced him to stop. Cold turkey. No interventions, no programs, just the internal recognition that he was next in line to be buried or institutionalized. The streets gave no second chances, but somehow Corey clawed one from the jaws of destruction. That decision, to turn away from a fate that claimed so many, was the first step toward transformation. Despite surviving the drug-laced chaos of Park Hill, fate had another test. Just when things seemed to stabilize, violence found Corey in the most brutal form imaginable. Caught in a hail of gunfire, he was shot. Not once, not twice, but 4 times. 4 bullets tore through his body and forever changed his mind. It was in that moment, suspended between life and death, that Corey found clarity. Later in interviews, he would call it an eye-opener, a divine message screaming at him to pivot, to live for something greater. While some see trauma and retreat, Corey saw trauma and evolved. That near-death moment became the ignition switch for the creation of Raekwon. As he recovered from his wounds, he began to refine his voice, his message, his mission. Music wasn't just a dream now. It was a lifeline. He poured his near-fatal experience into verses, stories, metaphors that turned real-life suffering into cinematic poetry. He connected with other rising artists like Method Man, Inspectah Deck, and most crucially, Ghostface Killah. These weren't just friends, they were creative conspirators, fellow survivors, artists molded by the same fires. Together, they would go on to birth a cultural movement unlike any other. By 1992, Corey had rebranded. Now operating under the alias Raekwon the Chef, he helped ignite the Wu-Tang Clan, a group that would redefine hip-hop not just musically, but philosophically. No longer was rap just entertainment, it was mythology. And Raekwon's chapter was forged in blood, grit, and redemption. When Wu-Tang Clan's debut album, Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers, dropped in 1993, it wasn't just music, it was a seismic shift. The album, raw and unfiltered, mixed Eastern philosophy with street wisdom and brought a generation of unheard voices to the global stage. Raekwon's gritty tone stood out even among the crew's legendary lineup. But while the Wu was a collective revolution, Raekwon had something personal to say. In 1995, he released Only Built for Cuban Links, a solo project that played more like a mob movie than a rap album. Produced entirely by RZA and co-starring Ghostface Killah, it was a vivid portrait of hustlers dreaming of something more. A lyrical mafia epic with layers of metaphor, tension, and street theology. Critics called it a masterpiece. The streets embraced it. It debuted at number 4 on Billboard and went gold in just 2 months. But more than numbers, it gave Raekwon his identity. Not just as a Wu-Tang member, but as an auteur of storytelling. While others followed trends, he stayed rooted in rawness. Albums like Immobilarity and Only Built for Cuban Links, P-Type 2, further proved that Raekwon wasn't a one-album wonder. He was a craftsman. And even as the music industry shifted toward pop hooks and polished production, he never sacrificed his edge. Every line he spit was a reflection of the man who had once bled on the sidewalk, now pouring that pain into purpose. For Raekwon, homes were never just investments. They were monuments. His Staten Island mansion, valued at over $2 million, is more than brick and mortar. It's a symbol. Nestled near the Verrazano Bridge, the 4-story residence is a sanctuary built on hard-won peace. Rebuilt in 2016, every floor is designed with intention. 9-foot ceilings, warm leather couches, central speakers, a custom chef's kitchen that pays homage to his nickname. There's no gold-plated arrogance here, just quiet power. A home that whispers, not screams. It's where Raekwon decompresses, cooks for his family, reflects in the master suite, and enjoys the stability he never had as a child. But that's not the only property that shaped his legacy. Before Staten Island came a stately brick apartment building in Brooklyn, valued at $2.4 million, located just blocks from where his journey began. This building wasn't just real estate, it was a declaration. Each apartment preserved, each room freshly renovated, it became a bridge between his past and his progress. From the stone-paved backyard to the wide, sun-drenched living rooms, it was a creative fortress, a haven for both hustle and healing. These homes aren't just status symbols, they're reflections of transformation. From project hallways to high ceilings, Raekwon's real estate portfolio tells a story of escape, elevation, and evolution. To understand Raekwon's rise, look no further than the vehicles that carried him. Each car is a timestamp in his legacy. The BMW X5, a blend of power and grace, mirrors his current self. Confident, calculated, dominant, yet quiet. Its German engineering reflects the precision with which Raekwon crafts his brand today. But before the X5, there was the Acura legend, a car that every 90s New York hustler fantasized about. For Raekwon, it was the first reward, the first physical manifestation of his grind. Rolling through Brooklyn in that Acura, he wasn't just flexing. He was affirming to himself and the world that he had arrived. Then came the crown jewel, the 2000 Mercedes-Benz S-Class. With its bold design and luxury interior, it became a mobile throne. This wasn't just a car, it was a vessel of achievement. A symbol that the kid who once ducked bullets in the park, hill projects now cruised city highways in comfort, style, and control. Each of these machines represents more than transportation. They are chapters in a biography of progress. Vehicles that roared like his verses, reminding the world that success isn't just walked into, it's driven. Behind every diamond-studded lifestyle lies an engine. For Raekwon, that engine is $6 million strong, a net worth built on artistry, strategy, and relentless hustle. His first major earnings came from Wu-Tang's debut success, with platinum, sales and global tours setting the stage. But the game truly changed with Only Built for Cuban Links. Despite a modest debut compared to his peers, the album's long-term cultural impact turned it into a royalty juggernaut. Decades later, it's still streaming, still selling, still feeding him. But Raekwon didn't stop at music. He toured internationally, collaborated with artists beyond Wu-Tang, and charged premium for his verses. Then came brand deals, most notably his partnership with Diadora and Foot Locker for the Community Link sneaker project. Limited edition sneakers, cultural crossovers, and fashion-forward business moves transformed him from rapper to entrepreneur. Add in YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music streams, and licensing deals for ads and documentaries, and you have a diversified financial ecosystem. Raekwon doesn't just rap, he reinvests, he builds, he scales. The same discipline that helped him quit drugs, survive gunfire, and dominate hip-hop now fuels his business empire. While Raekwon's bank account tells one story, his philanthropy tells another, a quieter, more powerful narrative. He never forgot the kids still trapped in the cycles he escaped. That's why he joined the Children's Literacy Society, launching after-school programs in Staten Island that offer reading, sports, and nutrition support. He shows up, not as a celebrity, but as a mentor, a mirror of who they could become. Then came Hurricane Sandy in 2012. As floodwaters destroyed entire communities, Raekwon co-founded Ride for NY, organizing charity cycling events and auctioning off custom Wu-Tang bikes. The proceeds went directly to rebuilding efforts in Rockaway and Staten Island. His giving didn't stop there. The Community Link sneaker project wasn't just about shoes. It funded platforms where young artists could access music, art, and business education. He's poured money into education funds, art programs, scholarships, and struggling families. But if you ask him, his greatest gift isn't money, it's mentorship. He believes wisdom, passed down, is the only legacy that doesn't fade. In every charitable act, you see a man who remembers what it means to need, and who now chooses to be the help he never had. Beyond the luxury, behind the fame, Raekwon is a man shaped by spirituality and driven by fatherhood. In 2009, he converted to Islam, not for optics, but for grounding. The faith gave him structure, discipline, and a sense of peace that the streets never could. It redefined how he raises his children, how he treats people, and how he moves through fame. He doesn't chase attention. He seeks balance. Inside his mansion, daily life is quiet, focused, intentional. As a father, Raekwon is present, making sure his children grow up with stability, with love, with guidance. He's built a home where chaos can't enter, where family comes first, where legacy isn't just gold records but lessons passed down over dinner. Away from cameras, he is tender, protective, and deeply introspective. For a man who once had nothing, everything now is about meaning, building a life that would have seemed impossible back in Park Hill. This is the evolution of Raekwon. From warrior to provider, from survivor to sage. Not just an icon in hip-hop, but a human being. Complete, grounded, and quietly triumphant.